What's up, everybody? There's a lot of fighting going on over the IIFYM thing, and I want to clear that up, and I feel particularly qualified to clear it up because I was there when the acronym was made, and I was there to watch it sort of blow up into a monster. And so beginning with the origins of it, this was in about 2009, 2010 on the bodybuilding.com forums, and it was in response to just endless threads posted by newbies asking if they can have this food or that food while they're cutting. And they would name off any food you can think of, anything from whole foods all the way to highly refined processed foods. But mostly it was pretty neutral stuff, like, for example, peanut butter, cheese would be on the more processed end, and then of course there would be questions about whole foods that happen to not fit into the stereotypical set of foods that people use for pre-contest dieting, like, for example, whole eggs, chicken with the skin on, and things like that. So people would post these questions of these foods that were outside of this narrow box of clean or pre-contest friendly foods. And when they ask, can I have this food while cutting, then the answer would be, if it fits your macro targets, then go ahead and have that food. So the threads would keep coming, and then patience wore thin over posting, if it fits your macros, go ahead and have that food. If it fits your macros, if it fits your macros. So what Eric Kohnreich actually is his real name. His name on the forums is Eric Stevens. He thought of just posting the acronym IIFYM instead of typing the whole thing out over and over again. So it almost became like a joke to type out IIFYM in response to noob threads asking these types of questions over and over. So what happened from that point is something that never should have happened. And that was taking the IIFYM acronym and turning it into some sort of name of a diet. And worse than that, turning it into the name of a pro-junk food diet. That was never the intention of the acronym. And so the idea that IIFYM means if it fits your macros, eat whatever junk or however much junk you want, that's just completely false. The smart IIFYM folks are separated from, we'll call it the bro crowd, because they don't believe in a short list of magic foods that you can only eat and avoid everything else in order to achieve your physique goals. And that's really, what characterizes the smart IIFYM guys. Now, there may be some dumb IIFYM type folks who promote the idea that food choices don't matter or diet quality doesn't matter as long as you hit your macro targets. But I don't personally know any of them, but it is possible that maybe some folks actually took the IIFYM thing literally, along with eat whatever you want if it fits your macros, and then from that point promoted this false idea that that's okay. And it's obviously not okay to have a predominantly junk diet as long as it fits your macros, especially if you're concerned with long-term health. And it is possible to hit body composition goals to a degree with, let's say a diet that's composed largely of refined type of foods or junk type of foods. As long as the macro targets are solid, yeah, you can still make fat loss progress. But once again, it's a long-term health issue that would come into conflict with the idea that you can eat whatever you want as long as you hit your macros. But then the other thing that needs to be considered too is that it is actually difficult for most people to hit the pre-contest bodybuilding macros by eating just a whole bunch of junk, because then you're going to have refined carbohydrate and mixtures of fat and carbohydrate predominating the mix, and then you won't necessarily be able to nail proper macros for that. So in essence, getting your macros straight in the first place sort of self-regulates how much junk can really come into the diet. So that's it, man. I hope I cleared that up. And a couple shout outs to wrap this up. I want to shout out to the Cage, of course, and shout out to the Philosophy of Bodybuilding group, and shout out to the head of that group. His name is Ross Ersling. He's one of those fist bump Jersey Shore guys. Shout out to Ross Ersling. All right, take care, guys.